The Brown County judge overseeing a murder and dismemberment case will remain on the bench. Last month, Judge Thomas Walsh witnessed Taylor Schabusiness attack her former attorney in court. Well, today he says he will remain on that case. With a First Alert update, Brittany Schmidt joins us to explain why. Brittany.
Cammie, Judge Walsh says he has years on the bench and has seen a lot of things happen in a courtroom. He says nothing he has seen thus far has any impact on his ability to remain fair and impartial. This afternoon in court, the judge quickly denied the motion from Schabusiness's new public defender. The judge then asking Chris Freilich where the case stands now and when it can move forward. Freilich said he would like time to go through previous competency reports and get caught up. The judge voiced a little frustration, saying the court can't keep pushing the case and potential trial, but he does think Freilich deserves a chance to ask the court-appointed expert about his own client's competency.
I'm going to afford Mr. Freilich the opportunity to ask some questions of the doctor that did the evaluation for the court. That'll be about 2 to 3 weeks from now. And then it's likely after I hear that testimony, if there's nothing else on the table, I'll make a decision regarding competency, effective at that point.
This new hearing is scheduled for the morning of March 20th. Cammie.